He won't be able to stand very much more of that. He'll surrender soon or collapse.
Excellent. I shall go and prepare my warriors for the attack.
Well, Doctor, escape with the girl while you've still got chance. And don't try sending Agador up here. The communication room is shielded.
I enjoyed playing Mr. Boynton in Born and Bred. That was a wonderful thing to do. It was great fun going up to Downham Village in Lancashire and near Clitheroe and near Pendle Hill where the witches are, and we had a really good fun doing that.
Now then, by my calculations, the force of the relatively small blast should rock the door on its hinges, thus restoring our liberty.
What about the back blast? I mean, I don't want my shed blowing up, especially not with me in it.
Oh, I shouldn't have thought so. Now then, no sooner blown, but blasted.
You have to be careful as an actor because you can't misjudge it. You've got to say, well, there are certain roles that I will no longer ever play, and there is a kind of an element that says, yes, I could still play that, I could do that, and I could achieve that. I mean, I'd like to play the character in Brief Lives, the Aubrey, he's a 17th century character who just goes through his diary. And I think Michael Williams did it last time in the West End. And it's a wonderful story. It's a 17th century diary. But there are all kinds of parts, really. But as you get a bit older, the slog of learning is really, really hard. I did a production, a one-man show called Black Snow about Bulgakov, the Russian writer, 1920s. And I had to learn 32 pages of dialogue in 2 weeks. And that was quite some feat, really. I had to kind of pace it. I slept on my own in this room, and I'd wake up at 4 in the morning, and I'd learn 2 pages, and then go back to sleep, and then learn another page, and then go into work. And we'd rehearse for maybe two hours, because that's all you can do, really. It's a one-man show. And then eventually just piece it together like a jigsaw. And you can't be too confounded by it, otherwise you'd never learn it, you know. But no, I mean the old grey matter's still there. If you know, it's still there.
Have you got a particular technique for learning lots of dialogue?
It's just slog, really. You just have to try and associate words and sentences and have an image of something that's. Say if you're talking about maybe a tree or something, and it has to do with the sky, and maybe there's a bicycle involved. You try and link those 3 things, like the bicycle going into the tree and the sky falling down on the bicyclist. That sort of thing. It's a trick that most actors have, and that's a way of doing it. And also, of course, it's like anything. If it's good dialogue, if it's a good text, then, you know, you're just halfway there. I mean, Shakespeare's wonderful to learn because it makes absolute sense, and it's got this marvellous rhythm to it, this iambic pentameter, di-dum, 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 di-dum. There's a wonderful story about Dustin Hoffman when he was playing Shylock in the West End. And, you know, he's a great guy for doing this and doing that, you know, and trying to go around the text and do all this stuff. And Peter Hall was directing it. And he suddenly stopped Hoffman and said, you know, the thing is this, you can't improvise this shit. And he's right, you can't. Because if you try, you end up with 10 pages rather than 1. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And I never did Shakespeare at school, and I was very, very fortunate about that, because I did Shakespeare when I went to drama school. And I just discovered this wonderful Aladdin's cave of all these characters and this world. And you know, you think about television now, and in Henry IV Part 1 and 2, and the old king is dying in Part 1. And it says the Palace of Westminster, and then you get the old king dying and the wonderful bollocking scene he gives his son, because his son tries to steal the crown. He thinks the old man's dead. He takes the crown and he calls him back when he wakes up. And he says, how dare you steal the crown? You can't wait, can you? It's a wonderful, wonderful speech. And then you turn over the page and it says, an orchard in Gloucestershire. And you think, just come on, you know, I mean, television, it's all been done before, dear. It's wonderful stuff, wonderful.
Are you still friendly with people that you've worked with in the past? Have you got lots of
Yes, I see people occasionally, but when people's lives are busy and they change and they move to different parts of the world, you don't see so much of them. I've seen Bob and seen Patrick a couple of times, but you just get on with your own things, you know. And I mean, he works mostly in America, I think. Well, he has done a lot of stuff here, of course. But yeah, I have. And that's one of the great things about it. You can kind of pick up where you left off, you know.
Does acting leave you any time for hobbies?
Well, I've always had hobbies. I mean, I made those shutters, for instance. I just made them out of glue and booze boxes. And I've made dolls' houses and that kind of thing, and I built sheds, and I'm just putting everything in the garden. So that's my hobby, really, just kind of pottering about. And I do a bit of reading. Just been reading about Basil d'Oliveira, the cricketer. It's a fascinating book about apartheid and about how they try to keep politics out of sport. And of course, it's endemic in sport, politics, absolutely, completely. Yeah, so I do that. I ride a bicycle. I've got a Morgan car, so I'm looking forward to driving that. Like Toad, whizzing through the countryside and frightening everybody. Yeah.
And tell us a bit about what you think of the new series of Doctor Who.
I thought that Eccleston I thought he set the trend for this new Doctor Who extremely well, and I thought it was a very hard act to follow. I can understand him not wanting to carry on, because you can, if you are intent on furthering your career, you can get typecast with things, and I think he did the right thing for himself. Other people would say, I'll stay with it for a bit, but I think he did the right thing. I thought he was absolutely superb. I haven't seen this new guy all that much, but I'm not as enamoured of him as Eccleston. I thought he was great.
And your grandchildren are impressed with you being in Doctor Who in the past?
Yes, they are, yes. They, on my birthday on Sunday, party on Sunday, my eldest grandson, Barney, he's got a very sophisticated mobile phone, and he said, listen to this, Grandad, and he played me the Doctor Who music on it. Oh, that's great. I think it was from the Space Pirates, I think. So that was good. No, they've got me to sign, they've got printed out on their computers various sort of Eckersley things and Major Warne things, and so I've had to sign those for their mates at school. So how long that credence lasts for, I don't know. I think it's just a very, very sort of passing thing. So. Mm.
And finally, have you got any unfulfilled ambitions?
I don't think I have, really. I was just, our grandson, from our other son's partner, and they've got a child called Ethan, and he's 13 months old now. So we have 5 grandchildren, and we're all here on the Sunday, and I thought, actually, it doesn't really get any better than this, you know. 2 sons, 2 partners, and 5 grandchildren, everybody who gets on, and a wonderful missus. And we've got this house, and I've got a Morgan car. I mean, it doesn't get better, really, does it, you know?